And welcome to 2014. We are here in the pit. Our first episode is going to be with our 2013 Project Independent Featured Artist. We are with the folks from Element A440. Gang, how you doing?
Bored.
Let me introduce these guys real quick. Halo, Kat, Ivan. We spent a lot of time on the road together.
Oh, yes, we did.
The holidays have passed. You've had a chance to process. We're going to get into a lot of that shit. How have you guys been?
Busy,
Yeah, been busy. Not as busy as I'd want to be, but been busy. Real busy.
Yeah.
but it takes a while to mentally readjust to being home.
Yeah.
Like not getting up every morning and being in a new city. You're not gonna say anything this
You're just
entire
gonna sit
time,
there,
right?
huh? Processing? Still processing?
It was a little strange, like getting back to quote unquote normal. I guess getting used to the abnormal became the normal to us, and then going back into the real world kind of like threw us for a loop. But we're back.
What do you prefer?
The road.
What we did, the road.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
There's not even any question about
Yeah, we got to Tucson. I was ready to keep going. Let's do the whole thing again.
You know what? I would expect that answer from any band that goes out for 2 months and does it. We come back 3 months, 6 months later, I would expect that answer. But that's not always the case. There's bands that really get a taste of something completely different, completely unexpected. And you guys had some stuff under your belt. You weren't amateurs coming into this, but this was. Well, you tell me. What was this?
it. Intense.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
It put us as a band and as individuals through the fucking meat grinder. It really did, and it was one of those things where we knew it was going to be tough, but we didn't know exactly how it was going to be tough. We didn't know the kind of situations we were going to be facing. We didn't know the kind of issues we were going to be having internally, externally, whatever. But we weathered them as well as I thought we would. We didn't know what we were going to face, but we were pretty sure we were going to come back out on the other end together.
Yeah, I mean, through all of that, our goal is to continue and to do it again. Bigger. More. We don't expect anything less than more fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? So, bring it up, bring it on. We don't care. We're ready to go for it.
Where does this work ethic come from? Is this something that is just indicative of the members in this band, or is this something that's indicative of the Phoenix scene? And I only ask this because of this. We talk to a lot of different bands and whatnot, and they talk about the professionalism that comes out of Phoenix. And that's a word that gets thrown up a lot, as opposed to national act, local act. Are they professional or are they not? I mean,
I don't want to make any comment on the music scene overall in Phoenix, but that is definitely the band members. All of us. Ivan and I have been in multiple bands. The Halo's had a lot of band members, and I've never been in another band with people that worked this hard, this consistently, and we're always just this ready to go. Even as tired as we are, and it's like as much as we're doing as many things as we're already carrying, everybody in this band is always willing to pick up one more thing and do one more little job, one more little push consistently. That's
Yeah.
rare. You know that. It's extremely rare. But in our band, all four of us do it all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure it starts with the individuals, and maybe if there is other professional bands out there in the Phoenix scene, that it's probably the same way. It's got to start with the individual, I would imagine, and just lucky enough to have 3 other people to share that with and to pursue futures with.
Definitely, all said it. It starts with the individual. We're not the only people that really love what we do. There's some people in Phoenix that love what they do too. Therefore, you have professionalism there. I've worked both sides of it, on stage and on the other side of the stage. I'm also a sound guy, and I get to see both sides of it. And there's venues that are really professional. There's bands that are really professional. You know, I don't know if it's something from our scene, but I know that the people there are working towards a common goal.
But at the end of the day, the only thing that you as artists can take responsibility for is your professionalism.
Absolutely.
From that standpoint, what is it that defines professionalism in a band? If you're not going to look at bands and put them in a category based on national, regional, local as to define their talent level, because at the end of the day, isn't that what you're really doing? You know, kind of
Right.
defining them along those lines. If that's not going to be the case, then professionalism. What is it? In your eyes, what does that mean?
I think it has a lot to do with respect for yourself, for what you're doing, for other people that are doing exactly that. So I think that's what it's about to me. I think it's more like it's got to be the core of respect for that whole thing.
It's how you handle yourself. It's how you handle everything. It's how you handle what comes up on the road, the different kinds of people that you deal with, and it's the ability to keep that together. And
Yeah.
you know,
Everybody has their thresholds. Imagine of how much bullshit you can put up with, and
you gotta know your own strengths and weaknesses too. That's one of the things about our band is that we balance each other out really, really well. Where some of us, aren't real strong in certain areas, other people are, and vice versa, and we utilize that.
60 days. That's a long time. You get to know a lot about each other as individuals on very deep personal levels.
Yeah.
Things and things that you didn't want to know.
You had obviously expectations of what you thought those 60 days would bring. Now that you've lived it, how does that experience differ from what your expectations were?
Well, for me, I guess it would be way different because I didn't even know if the band would make it. We've never toured together as a group that long with this lineup ever. I mean, our drummer Animal had never toured at all.
He's never done
I mean, you're looking at a lot of odds
Yeah.
stacked up against us, in my opinion. And the fact that everybody truly loves what they're doing, and there's a common respect within the band that it was a piece of cake. When we look back on it, I think it was a piece of cake. But yeah, during the times it could have been. There was times where it was a motherfucker. But you know what? It was fucking awesome. Anytime I had to, try to take a shit in a fucking stall that I couldn't even get into, wash my face in a fucking, in brown fucking water. I fucking loved every minute of it. It's fucking badass. A cup of noodles every night. Who gives a fuck? That shit's fucking badass. So I mean, if you're fucking fueled by that shit, what else can stop you?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there were moments when, what was it, Springfield, where I was being dragged down that ramp in the pouring rain, and I'm like, I needed two people to get your little lamp down the ramp, soaking wet, freezing, like things are just absolutely insane. I'm cracking up when I get to the bottom because I'm like, this sucks. I'm freezing to death. It's fucking horribly cold out here. I have to do this again. This is so what I signed up to do.
It's fucking Vegas, and it's a monsoon.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It wipes out the whole pit. How many times did we have rainouts on that tour? It was fucking awesome, dude. It was like baby Jesus is up there just trying to fucking take a dump on this
like,
tour,
I'm gonna get
dude.
these motherfuckers.
It's like, You wanna fucking fuck Jesus?
Yeah, fuck your God?
Fuck you,
Fuck this.
motherfucker! Piss all over your ass. You know.
I don't even know what the fuck to say.
It's fucking
I mean, I
awesome.
was there, I know, and for anybody, for any band to come back, having experienced that, and be as fucking jubilant as you are, listen, man. Yeah, it was fun, but you know how fucking hard it was too.
Oh yeah.
That was brutal.
I mean, that's
he came back with 2 cracked ribs. He came back with bronchitis, a ruptured eardrum.
Yeah. I mean, it was fucking brutal, dude.
But you're either fucking made to do this or you're not. Would you agree?
Yes,
Absolutely.
and that's one of the things that
That's so true.
we
Absolutely.
didn't know before we left, and that was the one. I think that was the biggest question in my mind. Was how far can we do this? How much are we going to be able to? You know, we put on a really high energy show, and I was really curious. You and I had a couple conversations about that. Where are we going to be halfway through, when we know we've got at least as long that we still have to do that we've already done? Can we maintain this kind of energy? Are we still going to be able to do it? We could have sat there all day and told ourselves, yeah. But until we're, bogged down in the mud in the middle of fucking Tallahassee or Florida and gators are chasing us, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean.
We do now.
Yeah, individuals, we might be able to say, yeah, I can make it no matter what. I know I can. But as a group, can we make it? It's completely different. And we did. And we didn't, it wasn't fucking easy, but it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Every fucking step of the way was fucking super badass. All the fucking shit, perfect.
If we just sailed through it with no problems, I don't know that it
It'd
really
have been
felt
fucking
real.
boring.
Yeah. I'm like, well, we didn't fucking learn anything from that at all. Now we gotta try this again. Find something that challenges us, because I didn't know if we were gonna run into anything that was gonna push us so hard that we were gonna fall over. But every time something pushed on us, we either pushed back or we fucking just kept slogging on, and
Yeah.
we were tested.
You were tested. You had a lot of opportunities to get resistance. Intravenous nursery rhymes. I mean, the album title pretty much says it all. You guys aren't really holding back. There's really nothing PG, for lack of a better comparison, about your band.
Yeah.
You pretty much just come out and say that the way that it is. You had shows in Bible Belt areas where you could have, and maybe at times were a little snobbed at.
Oh yeah. Fucking awesome.
We expected that though. Nobody punched Taylor in the face on stage this time.
Oh, and that's always a good thing. But when there's a time when you're on a stage and you're communicating with the audience subliminally, I guess, you know what I mean, and when you can't read what the hell they're doing or what they're thinking, it fucks you up for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like,
man,
these guys fucking hate us. Or do they? Or I don't know. I mean, they're kind of getting into it. And you never know. Sometimes, nobody ever came up to us and said, hey, fuck your God, But we'd have people come up to us after the show and like, holy fucking shit, you guys were fucking badass. I fucking love it. I couldn't read that. Usually you can read it. But there was times in the Bible Belt, where I couldn't read that at all. And I also, experienced conversations with people after the show on a personal level, a deep personal level, where they, tell me fucking shit about their parents, abusing them and all kinds of fucking crazy shit just because of a certain song that pushed the buttons and triggered something. And all those conversations and all that stuff was just really, really cool.
Yeah, I had a couple situations where people asked specifically about, the godless song, like fuck your God. Why do you guys say that? But I didn't really meet with any hostility.
No.
About it. And
I like that song. I think it's a great topic of conversation. And I thought that it was out on the road too. We had this conversation. And you know what? You can't say it, but I can. And if you want to, you can too. Fuck them. From what I saw, the only resistance that you got from that was from well-to-do Christians.
Yeah.
To which my response was, well, how do you know these aren't Christians talking about some God other than
Yeah.
Jesus Christ? Not to put words or thoughts or commentary into your mouths.
Yeah, but that's a perfectly valid approach to it.
It sure is. And I just, like I
That's
said,
one of the things that the song is saying.
Yeah, I've had Satanists come up to me and say, "Yeah, fuck your God, dude." I'm like, "Really?"
right.
It says your,
Right.
you know. So if you, Satan's your God.
We're not
fuck you
saying
too.
that. We're not saying that from your side of it.
You know.
We don't know.
Organized
Wrong.
religion, it's the plague of humanity. It dumbs people to a fucking pathetic.
And on the other token, I had a conversation specifically in Dallas. There was a Christian band. No idea they were Christian, but when we were setting up the stage times and whatnot, they approached me. They were really cool people, really down to earth. When we started playing, because we played before them, they were the last band on the bill. Obviously, their fan base got offended because it's an in-your-face song. So they left the venue. They were outside. Little did they know that outside had speakers, and they were listening to the song that was broadcast.
They couldn't get
So
away
a lot
from
of
it.
people were really on edge. And later on that night, we shook hands, and they congratulated us, on the performance, and I did the same with them because they were a really tight band, they were good.
Yeah.
They were good. And they apologized.
Yeah,
They apologized, and I'm like, no, dude, to me, don't apologize if something like that makes you uneasy, because to me, that means that you're getting it, because you're listening to what we're saying. You're listening to it, and if you're strong in your convictions, whatever they may be, more power to you. There has to be people that are racist out there. There have to be people that are criminals. There have to be people that are Christians. There have to be people that are right wingers. There has to be everything for diversity for all of us. If we were all the same, then what's the point?
Yeah.
We can't be edgy.
Yeah.
And that topic, it's been said a million times, and a million and one right here. Religion and politics, they separate people. But music brings them together, and that's what happened when we played that song.
Yeah, we had some really good conversations with that band. They got it. They weren't offended.
I look at Order of Elijah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had our merch booths set up right next to each other.
With the "Fuck Your God" shirt next to the "We Are the Christians" your parents warned you about.
Yeah. Cool guys. Cool guys. It's.
You guys definitely don't shy away from controversy. I mean, you played a 2-month tour. You played the same set night after night after night. And your first song right out of the gate was Nigger Drag Queen. And there were some people, even before the tour, who had written in or called in or whatever, wanting to know what this band was about. Even artists that were scheduled to perform and be local supports, wanting some clarification before they would accept, playing with you. Which, hey, that's integrity. I have no problem with that.
I'd rather have people question it than just outright be hostile because they're not listening. If they're questioning for it, they're looking for the deeper meaning. Like, okay, what is this? Explain it to me, And they're then giving us the opportunity to elaborate, which is cool,
Halo, you're the lyricist for that song. Do we give the fans one get out of jail free card? You want to give them some insight as to what that song's about?
Yeah, I mean, I use the word in its meaning. It's nothing. There's nothing racist about it whatsoever. But it was a direct. It's exactly how I was feeling, how I was. I was actually called the name. So each of those words, nigger, drag queen, were specifically used against me with ex-band members that I had because I wrote heavy music with soft vocals. So it's like Boy George with heavy music. That's why Boy George is in there. Boy George, faggot, you wanna be. The lyrics are designed. The entire song is designed about a specific situation that I had with ex-band members. It has nothing to do with any race whatsoever. But people see that word and immediately get offended.
That word is proof that
I see it as nothing more
there is
than
no such thing as
fuck
free speech.
or whatever.
People are getting offended by it.
And
That
you know
means that
what?
there's no free speech.
In some situations, I would say, okay, maybe they haven't taken the time to, or maybe they can't understand the lyrics. Because let's be real, there's a lot of times where in modern metal you just can't understand the
Right.
lyrics. That's not the case with your music.
Yeah, I mean,
Your music is very very
I,
articulate. It's understandable.
Halo and NC.
So if they're not getting the message, it seems to me that they're just not paying attention.
What's funny is if you listen to that song and it tells the story. You know, there is a story there. And, you know, people just hear the word and get caught up on it. That's it. It's just the fucking word.
You know,
And-
I'll admit, even when I started, I was like, can I see the lyrics to that song? Because I was telling them, I'm like, I know you didn't bring me into like a band that
Yeah.
you know, sponsored
Hey, you
choices,
see
but
Kyle over there?
I
Yeah.
was like,
See,
can I?
Kyle, he's about
Yeah,
this.
see
Yeah,
Kyle,
right.
he's over there. He's about that. You know, fuck all that. I had people, you know, when I got hit on stage, I had a dude fucking, I saw no color when I approached him like I approached everybody else. I just do what I do, and that's what it is. Well, he had the balls to pull me, you know, close and take a swing, and I got down, we got in a little scuffle, and I had a choice to make. I could either fucking pound his fucking ass right there, or I could fucking get the fuck away from it. And because I thought that if I'd have continued with this, it would only justify what he was doing. So I pushed his ass out, and I fucking got back on the stage, and I finished the fucking song. And, you know, the cops came, fucking yada yada yada. Everybody called me a racist, and I'm like looking around going, really? I'm a racist?
And I think that-
Look at me, dude. Really? So, it's just, it's stupid, silly bullshit that the entire fucking world needs to get over. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't know why they're concentrating on it now. I mean, it's like Patti Smith is rock and roll nigger, and John Lennon, woman's the nigger of the world. You know, why didn't they burn them down? I'm pretty sure they got some flack, but, you know, I don't think there was ever violence. You know, it's just that people goes over their head, you know.
And amongst all of this aura of craziness that you guys have about you, the freakiness, whatever people want to refer to it as, everybody flocks to you. I just saw it happen all across the country. Why do you think that is? If you're the Addams family that everybody's afraid of on the surface because of all of the craziness that surrounds you and your lyrics and
I think it's because it's real. I think it's because it's fucking real. But I'm not afraid to fucking be real with, because there's always even playing ground. You're no fucking better than me, motherfucker, and I'm no better than you. So, you know, what's the beef? And there's no really ever no problems that way. I think when you come into a room thinking you're better than everybody else, that's a problem. When the tour started, I went around and I talked to all the fucking bands that I could before we even played. And I wanted to just get to know the bands, you know, utilize my time on the road effectively, network with the bands, you know, do my fucking job. And, you know, explain to the bands that, you know, we need their help. We're just a fucking local band from Phoenix, Arizona. You know, we were just lucky. And we worked our fucking asses off for it. So, you know, common ground. Just fucking lay it all out there. And if you don't like me, I'm sorry.
And also, we want people to approach us, you know, and we wanted that kind of interaction. And when you put that kind of aura out there, and you know, it's like Kayla said, and you saw, we extended ourselves to them. You know, we went out of our way initially to talk to the bands that were there, the people that were there, and once people see that and they see that we're open to that, we're receptive to that, they're a little, you know, maybe off-put by, like you said, some of the craziness and the freakiness that are around. So that curiosity kind of draws them in. They want to get to know a little bit more. But since we welcome being approached and we want them to talk to us and we want to talk to them, they respond to that. You know, it's just
You know, there was
that
some of,
simple.
there were still some of those that, you know, they would rather, you know, not ever, you know, cross paths with the end. You know, you just
we never came back to them.
yeah, it was just
Let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll move on. In regard to the road trip, everybody wants to know two things: the worst story and the best story. So let's start with the worst. Give us the worst road story of 2013 tour.
The worst. There wasn't one.
Really? Everything was that fucking peachy for you, right?
Even my cracked ribs, even the sickness, the not eating, the not sleeping. It was fantastic. That's why we want to go do it again. If it would have sucked, we wouldn't want to do it.
yeah, I'm having a hard time like, trying to
You
figure
know,
out.
the worst thing. Well, let's move on. Let's move on.
Nothing?
There was no worst thing.
Pizza
No,
and ice
the
cream.
best thing, man, getting to play different town every day in front of different people, meeting a lot of cool bands, because that's what we do. We met a lot of cool bands, met a lot of cool people at venues. You know, ask me, you know, like how many assholes I met. 2 or 3 of them, but they're back there. We don't really care about those people. We care about the cool people that we met, the people that were willing to help us, the people that extended. You know, we're so have so much gratitude for all the people that let us stay in their house, people that fed us, you know, people that let us take a shower, because, you know, it's opening up, you know, like your house and your heart to strangers, and you know, we're so thankful for that. So everything that we did was good. You know, we got a chance to play every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's
The
And if
worst,
you-
the
yeah.
worst stories just seem like just like little things, you know, like being sick, you know, having the
Well, it's
ruptured eardrum, jellyfish, those fucking sucked.
yeah, it's exactly like he was saying though too, in the sense that yeah, we met a few assholes here and there, but we wouldn't really remember their name or to be able to tell you what they look like because we don't think that way. You sit down, mama. We don't think that way because the people that are memorable are the people that give a fuck. If you don't give a fuck, it's in, you know, it's in and out. Like, we don't give a fuck. We don't got time or energy to waste on fucking negative bullshit like that.
No, wait, I want
Just
to
keep going.
Worst story?
What?
Was the day after Canvas, when the fucking trailer broke down at 1 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the parking lot of the Camellia.
Oklahoma City.
Remember with the, when we were waiting for everything to be delivered?
Mm-hmm.
It was just so fucking humid and hot and horrible. We had nowhere to
I
go.
was asleep, so
Yeah, I know, you
really-
slept through the whole thing.
I don't, so it wasn't bad for me.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the van though. He was on the sidewalk.
Yeah, you slept everywhere.
Yeah.
So
it,
it was-
that was
just,
never
and that was
anything
just,
bad.
that was just
If that's
a
what you
rough
can complain about, then
day. It was just humid and hot and sticky.
I did have a lot of sand in my vagina at some point
Did you?
where
Yeah,
it was a
it's
little
kind of
scratchy.
Itchy, scratchy?
itchy, scratchy, and I was just like,
Let's
I wish
say
I had
let's
one
say
of-
Florida
you know
has
those
a
back
whole new batch of
scratchers?
sand
I
there.
wanted one like that, but like a big fat fucking rake from like Home Depot. Like fucking yeah, scratch that shit.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to play for what is it? Fucking vagina.
Oh.
Vagina guitar.
Vagina guitar.
So last year was our 10th year, Project Independent. You are our 10th featured artist. You are also our last featured artist. I guess I'm honored to say that. I think you guys
So are we.
exemplify everything that is professional about a band. But in 10 years of doing this, I don't think that too many bands have benefited the way that you have, the way that our next guest, AGHORI, has. Again, 10 bands have gone through this. most of them break up. I'm sure you guys can understand why.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what we've opted to do moving forward, rather than award one band 50 dates and put them into a position of having to walk away from family, job, and probably not come back to it, because that's a big commitment. You know, give 10 different bands 5 dates or whatnot, and do stuff through PIA, which is the organization that you guys are a part of, which a lot of bands that are going to be joining us here this weekend are a part of. How do you feel about that? As an artist having won this, do you, I mean, again, and that might be a loaded gun question for you, because you are one of the bands that benefited from this.
Yeah, I mean, if it were me, like this year going into it, I would probably feel a little disappointed, because I want the United States tour. You know, and I'm sure there's bands out there that want it. But this wave will kind of spread the wealth to other deserving bands as well. And it, you know, I like the way it was before, simply because, yeah, you will be tested and you will come home to everything broken. But hey, what are you doing it for? I mean, if you want it,
That's what you
fucking do it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you know, go have your hobby.
You
somewhere
like
else.
that survival style of feel about it then.
Yeah, we
Here you
did.
go.
Yeah, to me, I think every part of it was an extreme test of what the fuck you're doing. How bad do you want this? At any given point, you can say, you know what, dude, I'm done. Tap out. I'm done. This is
It's
over
like you
my
said, that
limit.
Some people are meant to do this and some of them aren't, and you know, it sounds kind of callous, but if you go out on the road and you do this and you break it, then clearly you're doing something wrong. You either need to get new bandmates, you know, figure out your own shit. What did you do wrong?
Yeah, and at this level,
Yeah.
not when, you know, you do a couple little regional tours, get picked up by a label, and then you go start doing bigger things, and then now you find out, you know, that your guitar player's a douchebag.
Yeah.
You know, and now you're
Or
selling
your
all
singer
these
has sand in his
records,
vagina, you know?
and your singer has a gaping fucking vagina with a shitload of sand in it. You got to deal with that shit. Now you're in that situation where you're in a business partnership, making revenue, and with all this other fucking bullshit. This thing really kind of puts it to the test. It's like, okay, is this gonna make it? If it does, cool. If it doesn't, well, it was gonna never make it in the first place.
Because it's not going to be all, you know, peaches and cream when you're going out there and doing that. And this is a great way to find out. And, you know, the flip side of that is when you come out on the other end, is holy shit, do you know what you're made of? Do you know what you can count on these guys to do with you and for you, and how tight you can be and how far you can go together? You know, so that finding that out about you individually, yourself as a band, that's invaluable. You know,
Yeah.
so that's an opportunity that
Anything that was out there that could have broken us has only made us stronger.
Any advice you can give to the young bands coming up? The best piece of advice you can give them?
you gotta learn to communicate. Learn to communicate clearly, even when you're angry, without making it personal.
Yeah, communication is key.
Communication and respect. It's just really that simple.
And, side note,
Clean socks.
well, that's another one. But I would say, if you think you're working hard enough, you're not. Work harder. If you know, you guys were on the radio the other day, and I was chiming in, listening, and yeah, I think one of the guys was saying that you know these bands, that they dedicate 1 hour a day to promoting, and I'm listening, going, an hour? Dude, I work fucking 8 hours. I should be able to put fucking 10 hours into my band. What do I want to do? Work? Or fucking be in a band? Why put a fucking hour when you got fucking how many more left in a fucking day? You know what I mean? To me, an hour isn't enough at all.
That's the time you allocate for sleeping.
Yeah.
I think the communication thing goes a little bit deeper. It's like, don't just communicate with the people in your band. Communicate with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, tell yourself what you're really in for. Do you want to be?
Deep right there.
Do you want to be? Oh yeah, it's like Jaws.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the guy that plays, you know, like in the weekend cover band, or do you want to be the guy that stars? You know?
Yeah.
And just, you know,
Be honest with yourself
Be honest
about
with
it.
yourself about
Absolutely.
what you want to do. Don't tell yourself that you're going to go for
Exactly.
gold and you know, like you're going to break if you weren't really.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And it's not
communication-
fair to your bandmates
Yeah.
either. I mean, if you're half-assing
communication
it.
means that you have to accept the fact that they just told you that you were being an asshole, and you have to accept the fact that, yeah, you're being an asshole. You know, so, and
Wait, I was just being an asshole?
you're always an asshole.
Fuck.
And that's
See, that's communication.
You know, that's communication.
Yes.
There you have it. They're Element A440. They're from Phoenix. 3 dudes and a chick that will just kick
And
your
one cup.
fucking ass.
2 chicks.
Their album is Intravenous Nursery Rhymes. Pick it up, iTunes, all that other stuff. They're the last of our featured artists. Again, no other band that I could even think of that would be a better representation of what we're trying to do in this fucking place. They bring it. They're absolutely professional, and we've enjoyed spending 2 months on the road with them. And fuck, that's about all I got to say about that. Coming up next, we have AGHORI, and there's some stories to be told there as well. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the pit. Again, man, this has been a great show so far. We've had Element A440 on set. We've got AGHORI. And guys, you've been doing a lot of stuff in the last 3 years or since being the featured artist on the Project Independent Tour. A new album, I've got it right here, Transcending the Illusion. You guys have been doing some good stuff. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's kind of transpired out of the PI tour and what's led us to this masterpiece right here.
Well, after the PI tour, we started working with Tom Hazart from THC Music, and he came in and kind of wanted to work with us on this album, and so we went in the studio with our producer and our engineer Matt Van Allen, and we just like put some real effort into it on that album, and now it's getting some pretty good radio play across the country, actually.
Ended up releasing that. What was the release date on there?
So it's September of
September.
2013.
September.
2013.
Yeah, so we spent some good time on that. Did some touring leading up to the release of that, and we have some other touring coming up too to continue promoting that one.
We're all very happy with it. We're proud of what we have here, and we're glad that it's actually getting out there and being heard on radio all across.
So let's
It's some
talk.
good.
Let's talk about this process. You guys had submitted material for Project Independent. You did the tour in 2011. Came back, met up with Tom. Tom's done some pretty big things as well. Been part of some management projects, done some stuff with different labels. You guys get hooked up with him. This material, all new material. This is a lot of older material, but it's been changed dramatically.
It's been reworked. Some of the songs we've been playing for a long time, and they've kind of evolved with us, and I think that's kind of a cool thing to hear our songs kind of evolve into something that we feel is a progression from where we came from.
Let's talk about that, because again, we're talking about material that had already been written by the artist to be a certain way, and now all of a sudden you've got people, outsiders, that are coming in and basically telling you how to raise your kids. I mean, how did that weigh on the band? Let's talk about that, because I think that happens a lot in this industry, and I think a lot of people aren't really aware of how those relationships kind of pan out. So let's talk about that.
Well, if I could start off on that one, I think it's a little bit different in our case in that the songs we were working with, I think we kind of didn't have the time to fully get them where we wanted them before we put them down the first time, and so with Tom's ear, he kind of listened to things, and for the most part, you know, we totally agreed with what he was saying, and we thought it would be a bonus to just be able to rework them like that. So that was really cool. But I can see the whole point of view of, you know, artists not being allowed the creativity that they envision for their art or whatever, which isn't the case with what we were doing there. So I mean, it potentially could happen in the future with someone or another that we'd have to come across that type of route. But I think looking doing this album was a really good, smooth transition for us into that type of environment.
I agree with Tom on that. It's kind of like an outside perspective that we had never had before. And like you said, we didn't really have the time to put as much effort into the previous release. So when he came in and kind of gave us like a third ear, or a sixth ear, I guess, it was kind of interesting, and we just bounced ideas off of each other instead of just taking whatever suggestions he's had and just doing whatever he said. We would bounce ideas off each other, and that's kind of how we came up with some of the coolest stuff in that album.
And I'm sure at some point there would had to have been times when there was a difference of opinion.
Absolutely.
How did those situations pan out?
Well, at first for me, like just the whole idea of it was a little weird, just because, you know, we're taking songs that we wrote and we think are good, and then we, you know, exposing ourselves to somebody outside, of course. It's just like, it's kind of hard to take at first, for me anyway. But I really had to just hear the stuff that we were coming up with to really appreciate it, and then and learn that it is our music still, because we still had a hand in this production as well. But you know, I'm really liking it now, and it's good. Yeah, when other people have their hand in your project, it's like.
Yeah, it was
At
definitely
first you're
scary
like,
at
I don't
first
know,
when
dude,
that
I don't know
idea
if I
came
like
up.
this.
We were,
Yeah,
you
we're
know.
like, I don't know, that sounds kind of weird.
But you know, like,
Yeah.
like I said, Tom's a cool dude, and yeah, he's very opinionated and not set in his ways, but he knows what he wants to hear, and
He'll let you know when stuff sucks.
yeah, he's tough-headed, but he's he's a cool dude, and he's pretty much on the same level as us as far as the way he's thinking.
And
about
again,
music
these are
and
just
stuff.
ideas from an outside party. There's going to be times when maybe you're just steadfast in saying, no, this is going to stay this way.
There has been times like that too, where we didn't necessarily agree on something, and we're like, we kind of feel that it should stay this way, and he was okay with some of that stuff. Like he would just bounce it back, and he'd say what he didn't like, we'd say what we didn't like, and then we'd come to a healthy conclusion.
I guess musical integrity is just something that's very important, especially in the metal genre. I mean, a lot of the terms that get thrown around whenever people start getting their mitts in your shit, so to speak, is, well, why are you doing, what are you selling out to the man, this and that and the other bit. But I mean, it seems to me like as long as the changes that are made are for the better, and you're not jeopardizing your musical integrity, you guys don't feel that your musical integrity was jeopardized in any of this process at all? Is there anything that you go back and listen to and go, you know what, I wish we wouldn't have gone down that road?
Not at all.
No.
We thought we would going into it. We were like, I hope we don't listen to this and be like, what the hell did we do? But I don't feel like it turned out that way. I think most of us agree that we're happy with the finished product.
10 tracks, Transcending the Illusion. It's everywhere. It debuted on CMJ at number 3 for most ads, week 1. And I think right now you're sitting at number 5 on the charts, so a lot of people are picking it up. A lot of radio stations are pumping it. For the person that hasn't heard it yet, give them a brief description. What can they expect?
The brutal stuff is significantly brutal, and then people that like a little melodic in their choruses and singing, like with some backup harmonies, it's got a good range of everything, and we feel like there's something in there for just about anybody to to enjoy that's a metalhead. Or even not a metalhead, you know? If they like a good melodic chorus, then we have that. And then people like the more brutal shit, we have that too.
I'd say that they'll find a lot of metal variety in it. We have a lot of influences. We have, we've got 3-4 of us writing these songs. Different people in the band writing the songs who have different flavors of metal. And so you're going to hear a lot of different things. A lot of good things. Brutal, melodic stuff.
Definitely one of the responses we get a lot to our music is, oh, I don't normally like that kind of music. So we're that kind of music that everybody likes, I guess.
Well, it's like a crossover thing, I guess. I get that a lot too. You know, people that normally like rap or even country, they go, I don't normally listen to that kind of stuff, but I really feel.
I guess by
Yeah,
that
it's
kind of
music.
stuff, they're referring to just the hardcore death metal-y stuff or
Yeah.
something. Because I mean, we have, like you said, big choruses with a lot of singing and melody, and a lot of hardcore, thrashy, metal stuff.
When you guys are coming out of San Diego, California, you guys are coming from an area that's not generally known for its metal community. How does I don't know, where do you guys draw your inspiration coming from that area? I mean, there's not a big metal scene in San Diego. There really hasn't ever been one. I could see the makings of one, but
I don't know, I kind of feel like there was one at one point, and it was pretty significant, like back when we first started in like 01, or is that like,
It's like 10 years ago.
yeah, it was like 10 years ago.
with like Cattle Decap and some of those bands
It was
out of
more-
Vesti that got.
It was more of a local thing than
We
like bands.
we kind of
actually
jumped
coming
on
from there.
like with bands like The Abuse.
Yeah, The Abuse,
And
there was like
Downspell.
Downspell and Thought Experiment back then.
We had, yeah,
And there used to be some big
Media
shows.
Lab.
Media Lab.
Media Lab too, yeah. And there were some big shows going on for a while, and then it just really dwindled, and then clubs started getting shut down. Most of our rock metal clubs are being sold and turned into like reggae clubs and stuff like that. So it's really kind of getting harder to find actual metal venues that aren't just really tiny bars, like real venues with big stages and
That do metal.
that do
I know.
Yeah.
So you guys, new album, new year, some new tours coming up. How do you guys stay on top of all that with everything else that's going on? I mean, all these venues that are closing and whatnot. And yeah, I get it. 23 last year alone that we, Project Independent, has had relationships with or done business with over the course of 10 years of doing Project Independent. So that's a lot of venues to close their doors. That's a lot of opportunity that normally would have been there for bands to just go away. You guys have been out on the road, particularly you, a lot in the last 3 years. I mean, what do you think? What needs to happen to keep these doors open? I mean, obviously economy's a big part of it, but what do you think the artists can be bringing to the table, if anything?
Just, I think what used to work good for when the San Diego scene was good was like the bands working together, and that's something that we've been kind of talking about at home now with a lot of the bands that are trying to resurface and come back and do more shows. Is when we used to promote them together and we played as a unit every time. Like we had these like 4 or 5 or 6 bands that we'd play with every time. We'd space them out and everybody would put out the word, and then it became like a community. And I feel like a lot of places we go aren't like that, and they'll have a couple bands that don't really even know each other, and they come in there and no one really knows what's going on. And I think when everybody works together, it brings the people to the club, and that's really the most important thing, because that's why they're shutting down. It's just people aren't fucking coming out. People are, I don't know, lazy, or whatever you want to call it, or they don't want to drink or drive or whatever. I don't know. But people got to come out to
We
the
just need
club.
more drinking and driving. We definitely
We
need
need more drinking and driving.
Yeah. You know, it's the whole internet effect of everything. It sucked the whole music money out of the music industry or whatnot, so that's had a whole ripple effect, and it's tough. You know, staying together and playing together as different bands as like a family is really the one thing we've got left, because venues are shutting down, people aren't coming out to shows, and you know, it's like we're not going to get help from anyone else. We got to do it ourselves and make the shows bigger and better and just make it a scene again. And it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for live music, because I mean, it's happening across the whole country. And
Yeah, I mean, every time we go on tour, there's at least 2 or 3 venues that shut down while we're trying to book it, and we got to move it somewhere else. Sometimes 2 or 3 times even. So
You might be doing a lot of moving of venues. You got some touring coming up this year. You've got 3 tours, right? 3 tours coming up?
yeah,
We're going there and there and there.
Let's talk about it. First things first. What's you got a spring tour with Rickshaw? Let's talk about that one.
Rickshaw out of Salt Lake City. That's where the tour's starting on February 28th. It's is it 10 days?
9 to 10 days, right?
It's about 10 days. Just a little
Skip
bit
around town.
John.
Southwest regional, Utah, Nevada, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and back to California. And Rickshaw, some badass dudes, and they just put out a new album on Dark Harvest,
Yep.
and sounds badass. I don't think we played together for a couple years, so we're excited to.
They played in Santa Ana with us last year, right?
Did they?
Malone's? They were
Yep.
at that show, yeah. Show. Yeah.
Foot and mouth.
It's all right. It's all right. You're gonna be doing a lot more shows with them coming up this year.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's a nice little 2-week tour in well, here in another month.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got big summer tour. That one's pretty exciting.
It's gonna be a month and a week, most likely, with Relic Seed out of Latvia. Is that Russia?
Russia.
That's it, basically.
Eastern
So,
Europe.
Yep.
it's gonna be like a America versus, or not versus, but meaning up.
Holding hands and skipping
Holding hands with Russia.
Right.
Some type of.
Covering a lot of
Is that
ground
our
on that
tour
one.
name now? Holding hands with Russia tour.
Oh, it's the holding
We've
hands
been
with
trying to
Russia
come up with
tour.
a name that's good.
Yeah.
They're like, it's not Russia, you assholes.
The
it's
red
Latvia.
handshake?
Fuck you guys. No, it'd be fine. But yeah, we're covering a lot of ground on that one. Most of the continental U.S., I think.
Yeah,
So-
a lot of places that we got to hit when we took the PI tour and haven't got to go back to since.
Well, that'll be good.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Especially New York can really set that one up with Joe. He's been
Horns Up Rocks?
Yeah.
Shifton? Yeah.
Joe Shufton's been asking me a lot when we're gonna come back out there. So said next time hit him up and we'll set up something really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be a good show.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe something at the Trash Bar. Maybe, I don't know. He's got a couple of places he's working with out there.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
And then the PI tour. You guys are going to go out and do some of the PIA dates as well. Now I want to talk about those dates because there's a lot of different combinations of bands that are going to be hooking up over the course of that 2 week or 2 months. But your stretch goes throughout the Pacific Northwest. And on your stretch, primarily, you guys have Element A440 and Betrayed by Weakness as the bands that are touring in that group. That sounds pretty dangerous.
It does.
That sounds pretty dangerous right there.
It does.
I mean, as I look at the schedule, that's a stretch that I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's that's betrayed by Weaknesses whole region up there. We've been through there quite a few times.
Actually, we met up with them on the PI tour, and then
Yeah.
we kind of became friends, and we've always stayed in contact. And every time we go on tour, they come out and they help us put the show together, and then they help
Those
us
are-
find a place to stay. Like,
Those are our boys right
You guys are
there.
awesome.
Feed us.
Yes.
get us high, all that good stuff.
Well,
Eat
you know,
ribs.
they're family. That's
Yeah.
what family do.
Little family.
That's right.
That's what family does. Yeah, and then there's going to be that fourth band will be different bands. It'll be from time to time. I think you guys will do a couple of dates with Toy Called God. You do a couple of dates with
I don't know if you guys met them.
Unicorn Cannery,
Okay.
Eldorado.
Oh, yeah, so those guys are fun.
They helped us out on our last tour too. We played
Yeah.
Unicorn Canyon.
It's playing the same place this on this tour. Same
Okay.
venue.
Nice. Montana's fun.
Montana is always fun.
And then of course you guys will finish off that stretch of Montana dates with our brethren in Endeavor in Billings on a Friday night this year.
Sweet.
Oh, shit.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Then we'll have an all day in Salt Lake City. You guys will be back with Rich on the next day. I think you guys are what? You guys are coming back after that. I think a440 is going to stay on and do a couple of additional dates. They had some time to kill. So, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be fun.
Yep.
What else is going on? There's all kinds of stuff going on with you guys.
Trying to work on some videos,
Yep. A couple of videos too. We're
Been
working on.
writing and just getting things ready for another album.
We're ready to. Yeah. I mean that's on the horizons also. After we do some more tours and really pump this album, we're gonna start working on our next one. We got some songs that we've been working on for quite some time. We're stoked to really.
It's pimp my shit, guys. That's what we do. We pimp your shit. What do you want? Anything out there you want to talk about? Anything whatsoever? We get it all covered?
Request us on your local
Yeah.
metal station.
Local metal stations, yeah.
Hit them up.
It's not just about finding you guys on the internet anymore. You guys are out there on the radio stations and good shit, guys. Good shit.
Absolutely.
Getting ready to have a busy 2014.
Yeah.
It's shaping up. Pretty fucking stoked.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff ties together that we were talking about, from getting started with the Project Independent, and then just, you know, you're doing the PIA stuff now, which is kind of uniting individual scenes and melding them together so it kind of like connects, and just getting the word out there. All these people, Tom Hazard, Joe Schuften, all the people we met on the tours, Rob Agnello, like everyone, really been helping us out a lot. And you know, they're good people that we just need to connect all that together across the whole country, man. And
All the bands too that are starting to
It's cool.
really get into the
it's cool what you're
scene.
doing.
Yep. It's a big network. We can all work together. Kind of like I was talking about the scenes on a local level and on a national
Sure, why
level.
not? I mean, you guys have been out there. It's the United States. It seems a little overwhelming to a lot of people, but you guys have navigated it. It's some of you more than once. It's just miles between us, man. And at the end of the day, whether it's 5 miles or 500 miles, it's just miles between us. Get in the fucking car and drive.
Absolutely.
And at that point, I mean, anything's possible, man. You guys can play New York just as well as you can play San Diego.
If anyone has a trailer they want to sell for cheap, hit us up.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting in the car and driving. So we've got the van covered.
There
we
you
need
go.
trailer.
Pimp my shit. That's right. Well, guys, there you have it. This is Transcending the Illusion. 10 tracks that will absolutely fucking melt your face. They are AGHORI. And this has been The Pit. We're going to do a lot more of these. It's NAMM weekend here in Southern California. So, hey, have fun with us. We'll be back here in another couple of days with some more bands telling their story, talking their shit, and we're just going to have fun with this all week long. So, until next time, keep your feet on the ground and your horns in the sky.